Ma ei tea. Ma arvan, saab aga ekraanil. Põhimõtteliselt sa võib-olla kohe ei alusta salvestamist, et ma võib-olla ütlen. Või siuke, et kui ma hakkan juba nagu ilmselgelt tegema tutvustust, et alguses ma tahan vaadata, kas see heli töötab, sest ma natuke kardan selle pärast. Tere! No nii, 59, okei. Ta näeb praegu kõike seda, mis seal on näha. Praegu on teid natuke näha, kui te ei taha, siis peate olema ukse pool. Kõik, mis on ekraanil, see läheb, kui te näete ennast seal ekraani. Okei. Pinge. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I think how we'll do it is that I will ask questions, and then if you don't mind, I'll give a short translation also, if I'm able, to the people in the room.
Oh, brilliant. I didn't know there'd be a live audience. There's
some
brilliant.
People here, and then we'll have it on Facebook Live as well.
Okay, cool.
Everyone's super
Hi,
happy.
everyone.
I see only smiles. Okay, we'll see.
Oh, so this is also going to be on Facebook Live at the same time, yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
One second. Okay. So I will do also. So yeah. And then all right. I will. Võib alustada selle. Okay, kõigepealt. Kui on eetris. Thank you for being so patient.
No, it's fine.
Okay, so I'll speak this way because the people at home will see also my face.
Okay.
Tere tulemast kõik, kes meid vaatavad Facebooki otse-eetris ja kes on koha peale tulnud. Mul on suur rõõm tutvustada meie täna esimest külalist, kelleks on Robert Brinza, kes liitub meiega veebiteel ja vastab küsimustele, mis teie ja teised meie lugejad on koostanud. So without further ado, I'm delighted to meet you. And I'm sure a lot of our readers here are also very happy that you agreed to join us for this little Q&A. I can tell you from the first book already, you've had a lot of fans in Estonia. They, every time a new book is published, they ask us in the library, when will it come to the library? And I think almost 10 years now that we've had your books translated here. And both Erica Foster and Kate Marshall have a lot of admirers among Estonian readers, at least in Tallinn libraries. So now the questions that the people have submitted.
Okay.
Firstly, I find authors who write in different genres very exciting. And I know you started with a play, moved on to romance novels. And then what made you switch suddenly to crime novels?
First of all, hi everyone. I'm really pleased to be here. And it's really great to see you and talk to you. So thank you for having me. So I started out as an actor originally, and then it was because I wasn't getting any work that I decided to write a play, so I could make some work for myself, and that led to romantic comedies. And then when one of my romantic comedies, actually this one here, when it became very successful, I always had a dream that I wanted to write crime. So I thought I should try maybe writing crime before I became too well known as a romantic comedy author. So that's really why I switched.
Okay, perfect. So Robert Brintsa kõigepealt oli näitleja, aga kahjuks ta ei saanud nii palju tööd, kui ta oleks tahtnud, mistõttu ta kirjutas endale ise näidendi. See viis teda edasi armastusromaanide, selliste vaimukate armastusromaanide kirjutamiseni. Ja need said päris populaarseks, aga enne kui kuna ta on alati unistanud krimikirjanikuks saamisest, siis enne kui ta liiga populaarseks armastusromaanide kirjutajana, siis ta otsustas võtta ette hoopis krimikirjanduse. All right, that's a very interesting way of going about it, like on purpose switching to crime. Could you maybe, a lot of readers asked also, what is your favorite part of being a writer?
I think the favorite part is well, the writing. I still get excited every day when I wake up and I think, oh, I'm gonna get cozy in my office with my computer or with a piece of paper, and I just get to write. And I think that's the favorite part, just losing myself in the words.
Oh, so also on pen and paper.
Sometimes if I'm editing or writing notes, or sometimes a first draft, but I do prefer now to type because it's just faster for me and I don't get the kind of hand ache and stuff like that.
Understandable. Ma küsisin siis, mis on autori lemmikosa kirjanikutööst, muidugi kirjutamine. Ta ütles, et ta on endiselt äärmiselt elevil iga päev, kui ta saab oma tööpäeva alustada. Tal meeldib õdusalt oma kabinetis istuda ja arvutis või paberil kirjutada. Et paberil kirjutab ta võib-olla pigem mustandeid või siis teeb seda toimetamist rohkem. Aga eelistab siis ka arvutis, et siis käsi valutab vähem. So as we are already on the subject, maybe you could describe your writing process or just a regular working day, writing day.
Okay, well, I always try to keep office hours. I'm not one of these writers that wants to write at nighttime. I prefer to, to go to the office or go and write and then have a life outside. So yeah, get up at 7:30, walk the dogs, come back, and then, get ready. And I'm in the office all morning, lunch break, and then afternoon for a few hours. And I usually try to write about 2,500 words a day. That's a good day's writing. All
right. And I'll add on one question before I translate. How do you decide which series to work on?
I think actually if your first question, that's like one of my other favorite things about I feel very lucky, is that I can alternate. And I think I just tend to do one after the other. So I won't write two Erica Fosters together. I won't write two Kate Marshalls together. I tend to think, well, the readers want to read the next book, so I sort of alternate. And at the moment, I'm alternating between an Erica, a Kate, and a standalone one that's nothing to do with the series, and that's how I do it at the moment.
All right, so a quick translation. Küsisin, milline näeb välja autori tavapärane tööpäev, kirjutamise päev. Ja hiljem küsisin ka seda, et kuidas ta valib, millise sarjaga, kas Erica Foster või Kate Marshalli sarjaga ta parasjagu tegeleb. Et siiski ta eelistab kindlaid kellaaegasid, et oleks ka eraelu või selline eraldi oleks tema töö ja eraelu. Ärkab hommikul 7:30, jalutab, käib koertega jalutamas ja siis alustab kirjutamist. Kogu hommiku kirjutab ja pärast lõunat samuti paar tundi päevas, keskmiselt 2500 sõna. Ja sarjade osas tal on väga vedanud see, et ta saabki kirjutada üle ühe, ta teab, et inimesed ootavad seda järgmist osa. Ja samuti sain teada, mis on üks minu küsimus etteruttavalt, on see, et ta kirjutab Erika sarja, Kate'i sarja ja siis ka ühte eraldi seisvat raamatut. So you actually went into one of the questions that I wanted to ask is that will you write another standalone? So I understand that's a yes.
Yes, I've just finished writing the next Erica Foster book, which is the 9th one, which is after the one I think you've just had published, the 8th book. So that's coming, and then so next, the next thing I'm just thinking about now is another standalone crime thriller.
Ahah, ja siis ta just ütles, et lõpetas Erika Fosteri sarja 9. raamatu ja pärast teda on tal mõttes liikumas järgmine eraldiseisva raamatu süžee samuti. Yes, so as we said, the 8th book was just published, Lethal Vengeance, and I got it here as a bonus for the early from our Department of Acquisition, so the people who attended will get it early.
Oh, super.
So I know you right now you write more crime, but before you did, you wrote rom-coms, as you said. Did that genre change the way you write at all?
I think when it taught me how to write a book, and the very first book I wrote, which was the first in the Coco Pinchard series, the whole book is told through Coco Pinchard, her emails that she sends to people, and you never see the replies. So I think it really taught me how to write a book and tell a story, because I was trying to do something quite difficult with that book, which I'm so proud of that book, because it took a long time to write it. It took me almost 5 years to write it. But yeah, I think that really did teach me about writing that first romantic comedy.
Ma küsisin, et kas žanr mõjutab ka kirjutamisprotsessi, et enne krimikirjanikuks saamist kirjutas ta neid romantilisi komöödiaid, armastusromaane. Siis ta ütles, et tegelikult on väga tänulik oma nendele esimestele romaanidele, eriti selle Coco Pinchardi sarjale, ja need raamatud õpetasidki teda kirjutama ja lugu jutustama. Ja ta on nende raamatute üle väga uhke, neid ei ole tõlgitud eesti keelde. I just added that those books are not translated into Estonian that I know of. Is there a genre you would? Yes.
No, I was just going to say I do hope that one day they will be, because I would love them to. Yeah. So,
we'll pass that on to the publishing house.
Pass that on. Yes, I'm glad you're bringing it
up. Is there a genre? I love genres. So, is there a genre you would like to experiment with? I don't know. Sci-fi by Robert Brinza.
Maybe sci-fi. I love sci-fi myself as well, and also I love supernatural. And I actually have an idea for a kind of a thriller with a supernatural edge to it. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. When you're in publishing, obviously, you're very much known for being a crime author. So I don't know how that would work doing another genre, because I already feel lucky enough that I get to write too. But hopefully in the future, you never know.
Okei. Ma küsisin, et kas autor sooviks veel mingisugust žanri katsetada, ja siis ta ütles, et ta ise jumaldab ulmet. Pärast ma kindlasti küsin ka lugemissoovitusi. aga tal on mõtteis üks põnevik, millel oleks üleloomulikud aspektid. Aga kuna ta on tuntud eelkõige kui krimikirjanik, siis ta arvab, et võib olla natukene raske ümber minna teisele žanrile. Now the classic question for all our authors, where do you get inspiration?
Yeah, I hear a lot of authors who don't like this question, but I find it very interesting every time I answer it because it changes. I think it can be anything. It can be watching the television news report, hearing conversations by people. That's one of the big ones for me. Seeing a situation, maybe you see someone arguing. It's just all sorts of things, really, and often that can be the thing that sparks off a storyline or a character that you want to put into a story. So yeah.
Okay, that is fascinating. It kind of leads me, before I translate, leads me to another question. It's like how much do you look at people in real life and think they might be killers if their conversations are inspiring you to write crime novels?
Well, more now. I live on the Costa del Sol in Spain because this is the place where a lot of criminals come to hide. So it's always very interesting to see people. But yeah, no, I do often look at people and wonder if, what their secrets are or what they're hiding, or yeah, because I think we all have the capability to do something like that. It just depends on if something happens to you or you get angry enough to actually go ahead and do it.
It's actually, yes, because crime of passion, I think, is it's the number one motive, I think.
Yes.
Most of them are not premeditated. Küsisin väga populaarse küsimuse, et kust autor saab inspiratsiooni. Ta ütles, et see on muidugi paljude kirjanike vihatud küsimus. Õnneks mitte tema puhul, läks mul täna õnneks. See muutub, ta vaatab televiisorit, kuulab inimeste vestlusid, kuulab inimeste vaidlusi. Ja see paneb siis tema mõtte liikuma, kas siis teemade osas või saab ta inspiratsiooni mõne võib-olla tegelaskuju jaoks. Ja sealt ma edasi küsisin ühe jätkuküsimuse, mis ka esitati, et kui tihti ta vaatab inimesi ja mõtleb, kas nad võiksid olla kurjategijad. Ta mainis, et kuna ta elab Hispaanias Costa del Solis, kus on palju kurjategijaid, kes lähevad peitu politsei eest, siis ta tõesti mõtleb, et mis võiks olla inimeste saladused, mida nad peidavad. Ja tegelikult ta ütles ise ka, et inimesed on tegelikult mõrvaks võimelised, aga lihtsalt kui palju meist seda teeb, et kiremõrvad on ju, kiremõrv on esimene põhjus, miks inimesed kelleltki elu võtavad. So a little bit to follow on that, how much do you work with experts? Different experts like doctors, police officers, crime scene investigators?
Well, I've never worked with a crime scene investigator. That would be very interesting, but I have worked with the police, former police officers who give me advice. And particularly one that stands out is when I was writing the third Erica Foster about the young girl's skeleton that was found in the quarry in the water. I spoke a lot to a woman who was in charge of the police diving team, and she would go down and recover dead bodies. She would go down and recover guns, all sorts of stuff that was left underwater. And she told me all about the process of how it works. And she told me some just very interesting stories as well. One that always stands out in my mind, and I think I put it in the book, was they were looking for the body of a man. And he'd gone into this lake, I think it was, and he'd been in there for quite a while. So they had to go and get him, but it was very dark in the lake. The water was very dark, dirty, and they were searching for hours. And finally, she was on the very bottom of the lake, and her hands closed around his legs. And because of the way he was decomposing with the gases in his body, he was standing like upright on the bottom of the lake. And she said when they turned all the torches on, it was just like something from a horror film. This man just standing on the bottom with his he was all swollen and his skin was coming off. And so, yeah, she was incredible inspiration talking to her.
I feel like I need a flashlight now to make this as eerie as well, or tell it as well.
I know, sorry, that was quite a long answer, sorry.
No, that's absolutely fine. I'm making notes. I don't have that good of a memory.
Okay.
Küsisin, kui tihti on ta töötanud erinevate ekspertidega, erialaekspertidega, arstid, politseinikud, kriminalistid, et kriminalistidega ei ole, aga politseinikelt, tihti erru läinud politseinikelt on ta tihti nõu küsinud. Ja näiteks üks lugu on talle kõige enam meelde jäänud, millega seoses kolmanda Erika Fosteri raamatuga seoses, ehk siis Must ja So Dark Water was also the book
Dark
that
Water,
you...
yeah, the third one, yeah.
Mustes vesi ongi siis see raamat, millega seoses ta rääkis politsei sukeldumismeeskonna tiimijuhiga, kes on siis see meeskond, kes otsib erinevatest veekogudest surnukehasid või sinna kukutatud relvi. Ja siis üks lugu, mida see politseinik talle rääkis ja mis talle ka kõige enam meelde jäi, kui nad otsisid ühte mehe surnukeha just sellises väga mustjas räpases vees. Ja nad olid tunde otsinud, õues oli pime, vees oli pime ja siis üks hetk selle naine, kui ta oli seal järve põhjas sukeldumas ja tema kätte vahele jäid need mehe jalad. Ja siis, kuna nad selle surnukeha leidsid, pandi kõik prožektorid tööle ja kuna surnukeha oli tükk aega vees olnud, ta oli kaasa täis, siis ta oli püsti sealt vees. Ehk siis see pilt, mis nendele politseinikele avaldus, oli täpselt nagu õudusfilmis, kus nad olid püsti sealt kõik. See inimene oli püsti sealt järve põhjas. So yeah, no one looks scared because they like crime novels here. Do you, interesting question for you, which series is easier to write, Erika or Kate?
Well, I used to think that Erika was easier, and then the book I've just written, the Erika book, the story's a bit more complex, and this has been one of the hardest books I've ever written. So I think they're both just as difficult as each other. And I think every book for me is also very difficult to write. I always start a new book and think, oh my God, how the hell do I do this? Or, it seems so daunting, and you just have to break it down into day by day at the beginning. Yeah.
So you have how do you work with the story? You have the end in sight, like the solution, the criminal, or you just start from somewhere?
Yeah, with the first draft, I have an idea of where I want it to go. And the first draft I write is I have no idea, and just discovering as I go along, which for me, that works the best. So I can literally pretty much get right to the end and not know who the killer is. So it's a surprise for me as well. And then when I go back, I'll change a lot and edit it so it all makes sense. But the first draft is the one where I discover everything. Yeah.
Okay. Ma küsisin, kumba sarja on lihtsam kirjutada, kas Erika Fosteri või Kate Marshalli oma. Alguses arvas, et võib-olla Erika, aga samas see viimane raamat, mis ta just lõpetas, Erika Fosteri sarja 9, et see on üks raskemaid raamatuid, mis ta kirjutanud on, kuigi tegelikult on kõik raamatud sama rasked. Ta lihtsalt jagab need osadeks ja huvitav oli kuulda seda, ma küsisingi, kuidas see protsess välja näeb, et ta raamatutega alustab. On tegelikult nii, et esimene mustand ta tihti ei tea, kuhu see raamat teel on, et ta kirjutab lõpuni, üllatub ise ja siis tagasi minnes vaatab, et kõik otsad saaksid kokku sõlmitud ja need klapiksid. A question I want to know, I haven't read the last of Erika Foster books. I don't know. Will Erika and Kate ever work together?
I don't know. It's an idea I've had, and I talked about it before in other interviews, and I really don't know. In principle, I think it would be exciting, but it would just be very difficult, I think, to get them to work together because there's such different personalities, especially Erika Foster, who, like in the book I've just written, Erika said this line, something like she didn't approve of private investigators because they're not proper police officers. And I don't know where that came from. And then after I'd written it, I thought, oh yeah, Erika really wouldn't like Kate Marshall. So I don't know, maybe I'll have a go, or maybe it'll be a short story, or maybe it will work. I'm not sure.
I mean, Kate Marshall used to be a police officer, so maybe.
Yeah, that's true. She did.
Yeah,
but now she's a fully fledged private detective. I think Erika would definitely, and Erika's very, very competitive as well, so that would be an issue.
All right. Küsisin, kas Erika Foster ja Kate Marshall võiksid kunagi koostööd teha, siis autor ütles, et ta on sellele mõelnud, ei tea, ei ole veel kindel. Teoorias oleks põnev, aga kuna tegelaste iseloomud on niivõrd erinevad, et viimases raamatus näiteks Erika Foster ütleb, et eradetektiivid ei ole päris uurijad, päris politseinikud, et ta neid ei aktsepteeri. Ehk siis ma arvan, seda oleks raske raamatu vormi panna, aga võib-olla novellina, lühijutuna. Now, you said you are inspired by TV, by people's conversations. Are there any real cases, cold cases you've been inspired by?
I think for the second Erika Foster book, I was kind of inspired by, well, where I lived in London. Two things happened when I was writing the book. The first was that I woke up in the night and heard a noise, went through to the living room, and we were living in an old Victorian house in London that has the sash windows. I don't know what you call them in Estonian, but you know, the ones you can push up, they're sort of like the wooden ones. And someone outside had managed to get the window pushed up, and these hands were reaching in with black gloves on trying to get in. And luckily we had these special stop things on so that the window could only really go up a small amount, so the person couldn't get in. That really freaked me out. And then about a few weeks later, where we lived in the next road, they caught this guy who had been wanted by the police for years and years and years for he'd been breaking into old people's houses and cutting off the power and assaulting them. And it was a really famous case. I remember seeing a documentary about it when I was a teenager. And then it turned out he lived in the next street from where we were living. And I biked past his house on my way to work every day. So even though it wasn't directly connected, that book became The Night Stalker, about the person who breaks in at night. That really inspired me for that book.
Understandably, if it's a murderer next door, it'd be odd not to write about it, I guess. Küsisin, kas autor on ka päris juhtumitest inspiratsiooni saanud, sest ütles, et teine Erika Fosteri raamat Varitseja öös on inspiratsiooni saanud ühest juhtumist kahte moodi. On see, et ühel öösel autor ärkas üles, kuulis elutoast häält ja kui ta sinna läks, siis ta nägi, et kellegi käed upitavad ennast tema aknast sisse. Õnneks see aken avanes, ütleme, need on need vanad kinnitusega aknad, Victoria ajastu aknad, võib-olla 10 sentimeetrit ainult avanes, et see inimene ei saanud sisse, siis tuli välja tegelikult, et tabati üks mõrvar, kes oli inimeste kodudesse sisse murdnud, ta oli elektri välja lülitanud ja näiteks enamasti eakaid inimesi rünnanud. Ja tuli välja, et see kurjategija elas siis tema kõrvaltänavas. Ehk siis jah, see kindlasti avaldas mõju. Maybe to go towards the end a little bit before I'll open up the floor, how do you find time to read? Is that also an important part of your day?
It is, but I like when I get really into a book, I find it quite hard to read. I find it quite hard to read crime books because I'm either comparing myself or worried that something, I'm going to accidentally find something from someone else's book and put it in my book. So I tend to read other genres, and but yeah, I think it is really important for you to read as a writer, especially because you keep learning all the time. You keep getting better, I think, with every book, and other people's books really show you a great book is good to read, and also a really terrible book, I think, is good to read because you learn something from everything.
That's a wonderful outlook to have. Küsisin, kui palju kirjanik loeb, ta ütles, et ta loeb palju. Kohati on raske lugeda, aga mida ta eriti ei loe, ongi krimižanr, sellepärast, et ta hakkaks ennast võrdlema selle teise autoriga või siis kogemata võib-olla kasutaks mõnda süžeevõtet, mida teine autor on kasutanud. Aga ta loeb teisi žanreid ja autorite jaoks, ta ütleb ka, et kirjanike jaoks on äärmiselt oluline lugeda, sest see aitab, nagu iga raamatu kirjutamine, see aitab edasi areneda. Ja isegi halvad raamatute lugemine, et midagi õpib alati. Now, what's a book, if we have to choose one, what's a book that has maybe touched you or influenced you the most?
I think for a crime book, it would definitely be the Hannibal Lecter books written by Thomas Harris, the series Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, Hannibal. Yeah, I've read those so many times and love them and can read them again. But yeah, I think they're the ones for me that's influenced me the most.
Küsisin, mis raamat on autorit kõige enam mõjutanud, puudutanud ja krimi osas on üks tema lemmikuid on Thomas Harris Hannibal Lecteri raamatusari, et esimene osa on siis Voonakeste vaikimine. Now I also have I'll just have a look if I ask the main questions that people asked. There was one person who asked if you know how the Erica Foster series will end, with, in brackets, very important to add, I hope you write at least 10 more, not to say that you have to finish soon, but do you have an end point in mind or not at all?
No, not really. I mean, I suppose I did think of it a couple of times. Not that I want to finish writing them, but I suppose there was a guy who was writing a crime series and he wrote the last one a couple of years ago, and I remember thinking how strange it would feel to do that. But I do think that I will write them for as long as people want to read them, and I'm already thinking, you know, either Erica, maybe she goes into her old age, and you know, after she should have to retire at some point. So either I just keep writing them while she's a police officer, or she does become a private detective. I don't know, but no, I wouldn't dream of killing her off.
She would have to go back on her word.
Then
I'll be like one of those retirement home crime series where she and Kate Marshall end up together.
That would work.
Yeah. Please use me in your acknowledgement.
Okay.
Küsisin ühe lugeja esitatud küsimuse, et kui palju, kas ta teab ka, kuidas see Erica Fosteri sari kunagi lõpeb. Muidugi see inimene kirjutas ka, et palun kirjuta vähemalt 10 veel. Ja tegelikult ei tea, paar korda on mõelnud, teab ühte kirjaniku, kes kirjutas hiljuti oma ühe sarja viimase raamatu, ütles, et see tundus küll väga kummaline, et ta natuke on mõelnud, et võib-olla seni, kuni ta pensionile jääb. Mina pakkusin välja, et võib-olla see oleks siis hea koht, kus ta saaks Kate Marshalliga koostööd teha vanadekodus, lahendada mõrvasid, aga jah, ta arvab, et Erica Fosterit kindlasti kirjutab ta seni, kuni inimesed tahavad neid lugeda. All right, now, as a librarian, of course, I do have to ask, I know I asked about one book that has influenced you, but hit me with your recommendations. Books authors you love, books you recommend, you always recommend, doesn't have to be crime.
Oh gosh, well, I love Robert Harris. I love his books. I know he's written some. He's sort of the historical thriller. In his newest book I loved, which I've forgotten the title of. Is it Precipice? Maybe.
May have been,
yeah. And I love sci-fi. I read a really interesting book in a sci-fi book that was came out last year called Archipelago, and I don't know if it's been translated in Estonian, and I forget the name of the author, but he wrote a very, very interesting. Like, what I love about sci-fi is it doesn't go for the obvious, and it just told a very interesting story about the future. So hang on, there was that, and then gosh, I've been writing 2 books back to back, so I haven't read a great deal of stuff lately, but I think, yeah, those are the 2 of the things that have stood out to me recently.
Küsisin natukene raamatu soovitusi, siis muidugi üheks autoriks oli Robert Harris. Tema ajaloolised põnevikud, neid on ka eesti keelde tõlgitud, kui ma ei eksi, siis ongi Pompei näiteks, neid peaks veel olema. Eelmine aasta luges ta ka ühte ulmeraamatut, Archipelago on pealkiri, vist ta ei tea autorit, mul ei hoida ka praegu, Eesti, ta ei ole kindel, et seda üldse eesti keelde tõlgitudki on, aga ta ütles, et miks ta üldse on suur ulmefänn, on see, et ulmekirjanduses ei ole kunagi ilmselgeid lahendusi ja just selles Archipelago raamatus oli väga põnev tulevikuvaade. Aga kuna ta just lõpetas 2 raamatu järjestikuse kirjutamise, siis ta pole viimasel ajal väga palju lugenud. All right, my questions are done. I will just quickly ask if anyone in the room has questions. Kas kellelgi on küsimus? Ja.
Do you plan to go back to rom-com?
Thanks for your question. Hi. Yes, I do. I've been trying to find time to write the next Coco Pinchard book, which would be the 4th full-length book in the series, and I really want to write it. I'm just trying to find the time to do it, so definitely yes.
Üks lugeja küsis, üks osaleja küsis saalist, et kas autor plaanib kirjutada taas ka mõne armastusromaani, siis ja ta tahab minna tagasi Coco Pinchardi raamatute kirjutamise juurde ja ees ootaks siis 4. täispikk raamat ehk siis romaan selles sarjas, aga mis ta praegu takistab, on see, et tal on raske leida selleks aega. Anyone else with the questions? Kas kellelgi on veel? Okay, we have one more question.
Hi.
Crime books are quite a trope-filled genre. I wanted to know if there are any tropes that you consciously try to avoid when you write crime, or are there any tropes that you really like and you always try to include them?
Okay, so I didn't quite hear all that. Is there any? Did you say jokes or topics?
So she asked tropes.
Oh, tropes. Yeah, sorry.
Crime has a lot of tropes. So is there something you try to avoid or, on the other hand, love using?
That's a good question. I don't know. I try to avoid. I mean, I think mobile phones have destroyed so much in a way for writing crime because everyone's always in contact with everyone. So I try to avoid the whole thing of, the phone running out of battery or someone not being able to get in contact. That's really hard not to fall into that trope. I also try to avoid it always being dead women. I always try to make sure that my series, I don't want to give too much away, but the new Erica Foster, there's a lot of men who get killed in that one. So I always try to, because I know that a lot of my readers are women, and women don't always want to read about other women being killed. And I think it's very interesting to have that contrast. So yeah, I think those two are the ones that spring to mind. Yeah.
Meil esitati küsimus, et krimikirjanduses tihti on väga palju korduvaid motiive. Et kas Robert Prinzell on mingisugune motiiv, mida ta väldib või siis vastupidi just, mida talle meeldib kasutada. Ja siis ta ütles, et näiteks üks, mida ta üritab kindlasti vältida, on see, et inimesed mobiiltelefonidega on kas liiga kättesaadavad või siis see mobiiltelefon saab ebasobival ajal tühjaks, keegi ei saa kedagi kätte, et see on alati nagu võib-olla liiga lihtne valik mingi asja lahendamiseks. Ja teine asi, mida ta väga hoolega jälgib, on see, et kõik ohvrid ei oleks ainult naised, et oleks tasakaaluga, mehi tapetakse. Et tasakaal on tähtis. Anyone else? Okay, one more question, yeah?
Hi, Robert.
Hi.
You mentioned that starting a new book is rather daunting. Do you have any other fears as an author?
Did you hear that?
It was a little bit echoey. Sorry, I didn't hear all of it.
Yeah, so that starting a new book is always daunting.
So do you have any other fears as an author?
Do you have any other fears as an author?
Yeah, no, I towards the end of writing a book, I always have sleepless, or I wake up in the night and I can't sleep because I just worry about, is the plot working? Is it all going to fall apart? Will readers like it? I think, and also as time goes on, and I know there's more readers out there who, waiting for the next book, I think that is always a worry that I might let them down. So yeah, those are the sort of fears about writing. But I'm also because I write a lot about, often if it scares me, I'll write about it. So I'm very, very scared of, I'm not great about I'm scared of the dark. I hate the idea of being followed, all the kind of things that scare people scare me, and I think I put that into the books as well.
Right. Küsiti, et alati on, et autorite sõnul on talle hästi keeruline uut raamatut alustada, et mis hirmud veel on, siis ta tõi välja, et nii kui uus raamat on valmimas, siis ta ärkab tihti öösel üles, ta muretseb, kas süžee toimib, kas inimestele see meeldib, ega ta kardab pettumust valmistada. Ja muidugi peale selle on tal ka tavapärased hirmud, et kardab pimedust, et keegi teda kusagil jälitab. I can confidently say I doubt you will ever disappoint our readers from how the books are flying off the shelves here in the library. And
that's good to hear. Thank you.
With that, I would really like to thank you that you joined us today. You answered our questions, and we had this lovely conversation.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this, and it's been great to meet you all. And yeah, and I also really appreciate the work you do with libraries and telling everyone about my books. So thank you.
Of course. Our pleasure. Have a good rest of your night.
Okay, you too. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Good night.
Ups. Nii, kohe ma liigun sinna ette